what trends do you think we should keep our eyes on, and what trends are impacting businesses that you work with?
Well, I think in general, life change is there to stay. I mean, you have to deal with it and accept it. So there will always be change. I think in any kind of sector, it's always wise to keep on having your head around your shoulder about what's going on behind your back. Because what I learned also, especially in the information industry where I used to work, that change and disruption is often coming from unexpected competitors. Companies you didn't identify at the time as a competitor. And some of them can ramp up very fast, and then before you realize you're out of business. So I mean, it's very important to realize that the competitive landscape changes, to keep your eyes open, to look into other sectors, what's happening. Me coming from the publishing sector and going through the turmoil and the transformation which has been going on, gave me a bit of a more, I think, tunedness to changes. We've been through the motions. It was a traumatic experience for a lot of companies. It nearly killed some of the companies. And I mean, having been through it and having been through these motions helps you also in facilitating change in other companies. So when I'm on boards right now, I'm really the person also, driving for change in the board, especially with respect to digital transformation and any kind of technology development. I think it's not only about digitalization. I mean, there'll always be new things where you have to be aware of. So it's important to stay open-minded, tuned, look in what's happening in other countries, other sectors, and never underestimate the impact it might have on your own business, even though you don't identify it at that stage yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. And now you moved into roles that is kind of on the opposite side. So can you tell us a bit about what you do now, and what are the challenges that you see actually driving and helping companies from the board perspective instead?
Well, I think the challenge is, being on the executive side or on the other side of the table as a non-exec, is the difference are not so big. I mean, you're dealing with the same business challenges, isn't it? I mean, you're dealing with insecurity. You have to deal with pioneering, helping people to learn from mistakes, accepting failure, because a lot of innovations go along with failure. I mean, you have to accept it as well. And I think you have to stimulate and support the management also in making sometimes tough choices and taking sometimes risks, calculated risks of course, but to help them with that process. Because what I see, especially in public companies, it's rather tough. To make these bets sometimes. You have to deal with shareholders who look for short-term return on their money. So if you have to invest and take risks and invest in things which sometimes fail, I mean, it's a rather tough call. But I think our role as board directors is also to stimulate management, to help them, to guide them based on our experiences. So based on my experience with digital transformation, I think I'm the one who should bring that to the table and put it on the agenda and make sure that digital data strategy, these kind of subjects are on the table, and support management where possible. And I think that the biggest challenge, especially for more established companies, is this difference between explore and exploit. You have one side, the core business, which you have to keep on doing as good as possible in order to finance your future investments in innovation. On the other hand, explore new opportunities. So I think this ambiguity, you have to help the management with that as well, and help them, making them feel comfortable with this situation, because it's not always easy.
Right.
And I think if you look at the boards where I'm on, I think, in general companies, one of the top priorities for the coming 1.5 years is to have a comprehensive digital vision for your business. Because any business is affected by it. It's not only, the information industry, but it's also the machinery industry.
Right.
It's also the shipping industry with the energy management systems. So I think it's important as a board to push for, a strategy around digital, and there will in the future be new developments where you also have to be alert on. I'm sure about that.
Very nice. So if you were to think out of a future kind of ideal board, an ideal way of working at the board, what kind of things do you start to see that you would want to have in boards, and how it would work?
I think from my perspective, what I found very, very important is diversity, and any kind of diversity, gender, age, skills. And I think we could benefit maybe sometimes from more younger people on board, although it is a challenge to get them on board and get them into the more scheme of formal meetings. But I think it would be good to benefit more from people also coming from startup companies and having different generations on the board. I think that's crucial, and there we could improve. The other thing, I think it's good to be open-minded. open to new developments, like I just mentioned, complementary skills,
Mm.
good teamwork, and I think above all, being federated around a vision for the business.
Mm.
It's so crucial to agree on the vision where you want to take the company, and then federate everybody around it with each role they play in that.
Mm.
So I think that's important, and I think in the end, teamwork is very, very crucial as well. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And strategy, is it enough to just have it once a year on the agenda, or?
Well, I
Is there
think,
view
or
on
having
that?
it one deep dive once a year is already something, but I think it doesn't take away your obligation, more or less, to stay tuned to what's happening around you, and it might change. For example, in the media industry, I'm on a media board. All of a sudden, there's look at the ad blockers. What is then the impact of your business? On your business with ad blockers, even you just developed your strategy a few months before. So it's always, it's a permanent tuning process, and I think therefore it's important for boards as well to stay alert on what's happening outside. And especially look at other business sectors, what's happening there, and to take it into your company where you're sitting.
Very nice.
Stimulate them.
Very
Yeah.
interesting.